Hey everyone, Judith here. In this video, I am going to walk you through how I create a learning module in my learning management system. On the screen side by side, you can see my Google Drive, that's on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you can see my course in the learning management system. The LMS that I use is Brightspace D2L, and this is a course that is currently in progress. So what you're looking at is the content area for the course. Regardless of what learning management system you use, there is an area where you will populate the learning content for your course. And what you'll see here is, because this is an in-progress course, there's some content here already. Where we will be working is in this hidden module that I created called test module, so that way it does not interfere with the course. Within the learning module that I've created, there are many different types of items that I can add. I can do files, I can create links, and then I can also link to activities that are existing. So for instance, maybe it's an assignment in the Dropbox or the discussion board. There's a really cool tool in Brightspace called checklists. So whatever it is, I can link to it here. That is what I do. I don't say in my learning module, okay, now head up to discussion, and then students have to come up to the top to access their discussion. I actually put a link to the discussion directly into the learning module. And the reason I do that is because I like to have everything the student needs to be successful within the learning module. That is my philosophy. That's my approach. I don't send them around looking for things. I like everything to be here in the folder. Students seem to be really responsive to that, which is why I continue to use that approach. So going back to the idea of template pages, what I do is I author the learning content within the learning management system. So if I have a lesson that I want to share with students and I have it in a Google Doc, I don't just link to the Google Doc. I actually will copy the content from the Google Doc into an HTML page that is a part of the learning module itself. And I do that by clicking on New and then create a file. That gives me an HTML page. What this is called in your learning management system will vary. Sometimes it's item, sometimes it's file, sometimes it's page. I identify my HTML page by the rich text editor that I receive, that toolbar that is at the top of the text box where I can add the content. Heading back to the types of content that I author in the learning management system, for every module, I have a module overview, lessons, and I usually have several, and assignments, and I also usually have several. I also will add learning activities, but for this course, I actually author my learning activities outside of the learning management system, and then I will link them in. Right now, we're using Flipgrid for that. I also will put any discussion boards in the learning module as well as any assignment drop boxes in the learning module. So right now we're just focused on the different types of HTML pages that I would put into the learning module. I do subscribe to the idea of a sequence of instruction, which I think is a really good approach for how you organize your learning module. Everything is in the exact order that you would want students to progress through. So I will have my overview first, and then a lesson, and then maybe I'll have a learning activity or an assignment. And then another lesson, because that's the order that I want them to go through. So I don't just put all the content at the top and then all of the assignments at the bottom. I put everything in the order, the exact order that I want the students to progress through. When I am creating my learning module, oops, I just clicked back way too far. When I am creating things in here, I will take my course map and I will look at what do I need to create in my learning module. So I know that I need an overview. So I'm actually going to call this week 1 overview and objectives. It's blank, but I'm just going to save it blank because all I'm doing is I'm creating the structure that I want to use in my learning module. Oops. Then my lessons, I number them. So I number everything else that's in, this is just the structure that I use. So I'll call this 1.1 lesson communication model. That's not what I would really call it, but this is just for an example. And then I'm just going to say that I'm doing an assignment next. So create a file. 1.2, it's not a lesson, it's an assignment. Introduction video. Yeah, I already said assignment. Okay. Here's what we have in the module so far. Now I'm heading back to my drive. Now I'm going to start to structure some stuff out. Here are my template pages, and here is my week 1 module folder. So what I'm going to do, I know that I need an overview and objectives. I need 1 lesson and 1 assignment. I'm going to take the overview, make a copy, drop it into week 1. Lesson, make a copy. And with your map, you can do all this work ahead of time. You don't have to, you can set up all your placeholders. You can set up all your pages in your drive. That's the nice thing about having the map. And you can shuffle things around and reorder them as necessary and then just update your map to reflect this. Reflect the changes that you've made. Okay, now I have everything in my week 1 module folder. I'm going to go through and rename them to reflect the naming convention that I've selected, which you can already see here how that works. And then I'm just going to open up here. I'm just going to open up my lesson template so you can get a feel for how this is structured. I'm going to have my objectives here, my overview here. This may be a video actually for me. A task list of things that I may want them to complete within the lesson, and then the presentation of the lesson itself. Once I have all the information in my module, I want to make sure the format is accurate to what I would like. I don't want this to be bold. Don't want that to be bold. Don't want that to be bold. I'm going to check my header structure to make sure, yes, I have my heading 2, heading 2, heading 2, heading 2, perfect. Ooh, this is a heading, oh yeah, heading 3, that's right. Now I'm going to go back into the learning management system. I'm going to edit the item and then copy and paste it. Now you will see that I have some cleanup work to do because the copy and paste wasn't perfect, and that is very typical. It's just for some reason it just doesn't come over smoothly all the time, but I would rather play it safe and make sure that my content is safely saved somewhere. So here this is calling this a heading 3. I just want this to be a normal paragraph. Same here. Oops. Same here, this should be paragraph. And this should be paragraph. Perfect. Now something else I need to do. I have a link to a YouTube video here, but I like to embed my videos because I don't want the students to have to leave the learning management system to watch the video. I want them to be able to see it embedded right in the page. Not only do I think that looks nicer, but it's accessibility for the student. So it makes the content more accessible. So I have the video URL saved for myself. I'm going to go to that URL and click share, grab my embed code, and then from your rich text editor, there should be a way for you to embed video content directly into the page. For me, it is insert stuff. Enter embed code, going to paste the embed code here, make sure that I have the preview of the video, and then insert it. Now I get a preview of what the page looks like. If I want to see what things look like from the student point of view, which is what I really care about, I don't care so much about what it looks like from my point of view, I will click to my View as Student. Your learning management system should have some way for you to toggle to the student view. And once I can view as student, I click on the page and make sure that it looks like what I want it to look like from the student point of view.